At the edge of a lush green forest, there was a small village. In that village lived an honest woodcutter. Every day, he would take his axe and go into the forest to cut wood. He earned his living by selling those logs. Though the woodcutter was poor, he was hardworking and truthful. He would only cut as much wood as he needed. One day, as usual, he went into the forest and began cutting a big tree near the river. It was a very hot day, and his face was dripping with sweat. While cutting a thick branch, his axe suddenly slipped from his hands and fell straight into the river. The woodcutter panicked. His axe was his only source of livelihood. Without it, he couldn't work. He tried hard to retrieve it, but the river was deep, and it was impossible to get it back. Feeling helpless, the poor woodcutter sat by the river and began to cry. Just then, the water started to ripple, and waves began to sparkle. Suddenly, a beautiful mermaid appeared from the river. There was kindness in her eyes. She asked, "Woodcutter, why are you crying?" The woodcutter folded his hands and said, "Oh dear mermaid, my axe has fallen into the river. It is my only means of earning a living. Without it, I cannot work." The mermaid smiled and said, "Don't worry. I will help you." Saying this, she dove back into the river. A few moments later, she came up holding a shining golden axe. Showing it to the woodcutter, she asked, "Is this your axe?" The woodcutter was astonished. He had never seen such a precious axe in his life. But he immediately shook his head and said, "No, this is not my axe." The mermaid went back into the river again and returned with a silver axe. "Is this your axe?" she asked. The woodcutter once again replied truthfully, "No, goddess, this is not mine either." For the third time, the mermaid went into the water and came out with his old iron axe. The woodcutter's eyes lit up with joy. He happily said, "Yes, this one is mine." The mermaid was pleased and said, "You are truly an honest man. Honesty must always be rewarded. Therefore, I will give you the gold and silver axes as gifts." Saying this, she handed over all 3 axes to the woodcutter. The woodcutter thanked the mermaid and happily returned to his village. When the villagers saw his gold and silver axes, they were astonished. The woodcutter honestly told them everything that had happened. The villagers were deeply impressed by his honesty. However, there were some greedy people in the village too. They thought, if we throw our axes into the river, the mermaid will also give us gold and silver ones. The next day, a greedy man went to the riverbank with his axe. He deliberately threw it into the water and started crying loudly. The mermaid appeared again and asked him the same question. Then she brought out a golden axe and asked, "Is this your axe?" The greedy man quickly replied, "Yes, yes. This is mine." The mermaid became angry and said, "You are lying. Greed and dishonesty never lead to good results." Saying this, she not only refused to give him the golden axe but also didn't return his original one. The greedy man went back disappointed and empty-handed. The villagers learned an important lesson from this incident: honesty is the greatest wealth of all. The honest woodcutter continued to live a happy life through his hard work and truthfulness. People in the village began to look up to him with great respect. Moral of the story: truth and honesty always bring reward.